Universally expansive, you should know of the beneficial deeds done by Earth-Store Bodhisattva as he makes use of his indescribably millions of billions of great awesome spiritual powers. The beings of Jambudvipa have strong affinities with this Bodhisattva. If they hear the Bodhisattva's name, see the Bodhisattva's image, or hear but a few words, a verse, or a sentence of this Sutra, they will enjoy particularly wonderful peace and happiness in this present life. Through thousands of millions of future lives, they will always be handsome or beautiful, and they will be born into honorable and wealthy families. Having heard the Buddha, Taskam 1 praised Earth-Store Bodhisattva in that way, universally expansive Bodhisattva knelt, placed his palms together, and again addressed the Buddha, saying, World Honor One, I have long known that this Bodhisattva has both inconceivable spiritual powers and mighty vows. I have questioned the Taskam 1 so that beings in the future could know of these benefits. I now receive your answer most respectfully. World Honor One, what should the title of this sutra be, and how should we propagate it? The Buddha said to Universally Expansive, this sutra has 3 titles. The first is The Past Vows of Earth-Store Bodhisattva. It is also called the Earth-Store's Past Conduct, and also Sutra of the Power of Earth-Store's Past Vows. Because this Bodhisattva repeatedly makes such great and mighty vows throughout long eons to benefit beings, you should all propagate this sutra in accordance with them. After Universally Expansive had heard that, he placed his palms together respectfully, made obeisance, and withdrew. Chapter 7. Benefiting the Living and the Dead. At that time, Earth-Store Bodhisattva Mahasattva said to the Buddha, World Honor One, I see that every single movement or stirring of thought on the part of beings of Jambudvipa is an offense. Beings tend to use up any wholesome benefits that accrue, and many of them end up retreating from their initial resolve. If they encounter evil conditions, they magnify them with every thought. They are like people trying to carry heavy rocks while walking through mud. Each step becomes more difficult and the rocks more cumbersome as their feet sink deeper. If they meet a mentor, he may be strong enough to lighten or even totally remove their burdens. Helping them thus, the mentor will then advise them to stay on solid ground and be mindful never to go back into that treacherous path. World Honor One, the bad habits of beings range from minor to major. Since all beings have such habits, their families or relatives should create blessings for them when they are on the verge of dying in order to assist them on the road ahead. That may be done by hanging banners and canopies, lighting oil lamps, reciting the Sakar Sutra, and making offerings before the images of Buddhas or sages. Another way to assist them is by reciting the names of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Pratika Buddhas so that the recitation of each name passes by the ear of the dying one and is heard in his fundamental consciousness. Suppose the evil karma created by beings were such that they ought to fall into the bad destinies. If their relatives cultivate wholesome causes on their behalf when they are close to death, then their manifold offenses can be dissolved. If relatives can further do many good deeds during the first 49 days after the death of such beings, then the deceased can leave the evil destinies forever, be born as humans and gods, and receive supremely wonderful bliss. Their surviving relatives will also receive limitless benefits. Therefore, before the Buddhas, World Honor Ones, as well as before the gods, dragons, and the rest of the Eightfold Division, humans and non-humans, I now exhort beings of Jambudvipa to be careful to avoid harming, killing, and doing other unwholesome deeds, to refrain from worshipping ghosts and spirits or making sacrifice to them, and never to call on mountain sprites on the day of death. Why is that? Killing, harming, and making sacrifices do not even have a tiny hairbreadth of power with which to benefit the deceased. Such acts only bind up the conditions of offenses so that they grow even deeper and heavier. The deceased might have been due to increase his potential for sagehood or gain birth among humans or gods in his next life or in the future. But if his family commits offenses in his name, his good rebirth will be delayed. How much more would that be the case for people on the verge of death who during their life has failed to plant even a few good roots? Each offender has to undergo the bad destinies according to his own karma. How could anyone bear to have relatives add to that karma? That would be like having a neighbor add a few more things to a load of over 100 pounds being carried by someone who had already travelled a long distance and who had not eaten for 3 days. If that extra weight were added, that person's burden would become even more unbearable. Word Honor 1. I see that beings of Jambudvipa will themselves receive the benefit of any good deeds they are able to do that accord with the Buddha's teachings. That holds true even when the deeds are as small as a strand of hair, a drop of water, a grain of sand, or a mote of dust. After that had been said, an elder named Great Eloquence rose in the assembly. He had realized non-production long ago and was appearing in the body of an elder only to teach and transform those in the 10 directions. Putting his palms together respectfully, he asked Earth-Store Bodhisattva, Great Lord, after people in Jambudvipa die and their close and distant relatives cultivate merit by making vegetarian meal offerings and doing other such good deeds, will the deceased obtain merit and virtue significant enough to bring about their liberation? Earth-Store replied, Elder, based on the awesome power of the Buddhas, I will now expound this principle for the sake of beings of the present and future. Elder, if beings of the present and future when on the verge of dying hear the name of one Buddha, one Bodhisattva, or one Pratika Buddha, they will attain liberation whether they have committed offences or not. When men or women laden with offences who fail to plant good causes die, even they can receive 1/7 of any merit dedicated to them by relatives who do good deeds on their behalf. The other 6/7 of the merit will return to the living relatives who did the good deeds. It follows that good men or women of the present and future who cultivate while they are strong and healthy will receive all of the benefit derived. The arrival of the great ghost of impermanence is so unexpected that the deceased one's consciousness first roams in the darkness and obscurity, unaware of offences and blessings. For 49 days, the deceased are as if deluded or deaf, or as if in courts where their karmic retributions are being decided. Once judgment is fixed, they are reborn according to their karma. In the time before rebirths are determined, the deceased suffer from thousands upon thousands of anxieties. How much more is that the case for those who are to fall into the bad destinies? Throughout 49 days, those whose lives have ended and who have not yet been reborn will be hoping every moment that their immediate relatives will earn blessings powerful enough to rescue them. At the end of that time, the deceased will undergo retribution according to their karma. If someone is an offender, he may pass through hundreds of thousands of years without even a day's liberation. If someone's offences deserve fivefold relentless retribution, he will fall into the great hells and undergo incessant suffering throughout hundreds of millions of eons. Moreover, Elder, when beings who have committed karmic offences die, their relatives may prepare vegetarian offerings to aid them on their karmic path. In the process of preparing the vegetarian meal and before it has been eaten, rice, washing water, and vegetables leaves should not be thrown on the ground. Before the food is offered to the Buddhas and the Sangha, no one should eat it. If there is laxness or transgression in this matter, then the deceased will receive no strength from it. But if purity is rigorously maintained in making the offering to the Buddhas and the Sangha, the deceased will receive 1/7 of the merit. Therefore, Elder, by performing vegetarian offerings on behalf of deceased fathers, mothers, and other relatives while making earnest supplication on their behalf, beings of Jambudvipa benefit both the living and the dead. After that was said, thousands of billions of nayotas of ghosts and spirits of Jambudvipa who were in the palace of the Triamshrimsa heaven made the unlimited resolve to attain bodhi. The elder Great Eloquence made obeisance and withdrew. Chapter 8. Praises of Lord Yama and his followers. At that time, from within the Iron Ring mountain, Lord Yama and his following of infinite ghost kings came before the Buddha in the Triamshrimsa heaven. There were the Ghost King Evil Poison, the Ghost King Many Evils, the Ghost King Great Argument, the Ghost King White Tiger, the Ghost King Blood Tiger, the Ghost King Crimson Tiger, the Ghost King Spreading Disaster, the Ghost King Flying Body, the Ghost King Lightning Flash, the Ghost King Wolf Tooth, the Ghost King Thousand Eyes, the Ghost King Animal Eater, the Ghost King Rock Bearer, the Ghost King Lord of Bad News, the Ghost King Lord of Calamities, the Ghost King Lord of Food, the Ghost King Lord of Wealth, the Ghost King Lord of Domestic Animals, the Ghost King Lord of Birds, the Ghost King Lord of Beasts, the Ghost King Lord of Mountain Sprites, the Ghost King Lord of Birth, the Ghost King Lord of Life, the Ghost King Lord of Sickness, the Ghost King Lord of Danger, the Ghost King Three Eyes, the Ghost King Four Eyes, the Ghost King Five Eyes, the Ghost King Chilishi, the Great Ghost King Chilishi, the Ghost King Chilicha, the Great Ghost King Chilicha, the Ghost King Nocha, the Great Ghost King Nocha, and other such great ghost kings. With them were hundreds of thousands of minor ghost kings who dwelt throughout Jambudvipa, each presiding over certain jurisdictions. Aided by the Buddha's awesome spiritual strength and the power of Earth-Store Bodhisattva Mahasattva, all these ghost kings joined Lord Yama in the Triumphs heaven, and together they stood to one side. The Lord Yama knelt, placed his palms together, and said to the Buddha, "World Honor One, aided by the Buddha's awesome spiritual strength and the power of Earth-Store Bodhisattva, I have been able to come here with all these ghost kings to join this great assembly in the Triumphs heaven, which will be very much to our benefit. There is now a small doubt that I should like to express, and we hope the World Honor One will be compassionate and resolve it." The Buddha told Lord Yama, "I will answer any question you would like to ask." At that time, Lord Yama looked respectfully at the World Honor One, made obeisance, turned his head to acknowledge Earth-Store Bodhisattva, and then said to the Buddha, "World Honor One, I observe that Earth-Store Bodhisattva uses hundreds of thousands of expedient devices to rescue beings who are suffering for their offences within the 6 paths of rebirth. I see that he does so unstintingly without the least fatigue. Although this great Bodhisattva uses his inconceivable spiritual penetrations to do such deeds, it doesn't take long for the beings whom he has helped in gaining release from retribution to fall into the evil paths again. World Honor One, since a Bodhisattva has such great inconceivable spiritual powers, why are beings not able to rely on him to stay on the good path and to be freed once and for all? Please, World Honor One, explain that for us." The Buddha told Lord Yama, "The beings of Jambudvipa have stubborn and obstinate natures, difficult to tame, difficult to subdue. This great Bodhisattva continually rescues such beings throughout hundreds of thousands of eons, causing them to obtain liberation quickly. For those beings undergoing retributions, even in the worst destinies, the Bodhisattva applies the strength of expedience to extricate them from their own basic karmic conditions and lead them to understand the events of their past lives. But because beings of Jambudvipa are so bound up by their own bad habits, they keep revolving in and out of the various paths over and over, as this Bodhisattva labors throughout many long eons to entirely effect their rescue and release. They are like people who, in confusion, lose their way home and take a dangerous route by mistake. On that dangerous route are many yakshas, tigers, wolves, lions, serpents, and vipers. Those confused people are sure to be harmed very quickly on that dangerous path. But then they meet a knowledgeable guide, skilled in avoiding all the potential harm, including the toxins of the yakshas and others. This mentor begins to lead the travelers off that dangerous path, saying, "Beware everyone, what business has brought you onto this road? What kind of special skills do you have to avoid all those dangers?" Hearing that, the confused travelers realize that they are on a dangerous path and turn back, attempting to escape. The kind guide then tells them to join hands, leads them off the dangerous path, and help them avoid the deadly peril. When they reach a safe route, the travelers are relieved and calm down. Their guide then says to them, "Take care, confused ones, never to get back on that path again. Once on it is hard to get off. It can destroy a person's very nature and life." The travelers who had been confused express their deep gratitude, and as they are about to part, the mentor says to them, "If you see any other travelers, whether you know them personally or not, whether men or women, tell them that the dangers and evils on the path could destroy their very natures and lives. Do not allow them to unwittingly bring about their own deaths." In the same way, Earth-Store Bodhisattva, replete with great compassion, rescues beings who are suffering for their offences and enables them to be born among humans and gods, where they enjoy wonderful bliss. Once those offenders are released from the suffering they experienced on the path where their karma took them, they must never go down those roads again. They are like the lost people who mistakenly took a dangerous path and were led to safety by a kind mentor. They know now to never take that road again. Moreover, they exhort others not to get on that road by saying, "We took that road ourselves when we got confused, but we escaped and now we know better than to ever get on that road again. If we were to set foot on it again, we would get confused and be unable to recognize it as the dangerous path we took before. That being the case, we might lose our lives." The same holds true for falling into the bad destinies. Due to the powerful expedient means of Earth-Store Bodhisattva, beings can be freed and gain rebirth as humans or gods. If they were then to turn around and enter into the bad destinies again, those with heavy karmic bonds might remain in the hells forever with no chance of escape. At that time, the Ghost King Evil Poison placed his palms together respectfully, addressed the Buddha and said, "World Honor One, each of us countless Ghost Kings of Jambudvipa bestows benefit or inflicts harm upon beings differently. However, karmic retributions cause those in my retinue to do more evil than good. Nonetheless, when we pass by a household, a city, a town, a garden, a cottage, or a hut where there are men or women who have cultivated as little as a hair's worth of good deeds, even if they have hung up but one banner or one canopy, used a little incense or a few flowers as offerings to images of Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, recited the sacred sutras or burned incense as an offering to even one sentence or gatha in them, we ghost kings will respect such people as we would the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. We will instruct the smaller ghosts, each of whom has great power, as well as the earth spirits, to protect such people. Bad situations, accidents, severe or unexpected illnesses, and all other unwelcome events will not even come near their residences or other places where they may be, much less enter the door. The Buddha praised the ghost kings. Excellent, excellent. That all of you ghost kings join Lord Yama in protecting good men or women in that way. I shall tell Lord Brahma and Lord Shakra to make sure that you are protected as well. When that was said, a ghost king in the assembly named Lord of Life said to the Buddha, World Honored One, my karmic conditions are such that I have jurisdiction over the lifespans of people in Jambudvipa, governing the time of both their births and their deaths. My fundamental vows are based on a great desire to benefit them, but people do not understand my intent and go through birth and death in distress. Why is that? When women in Jambudvipa have just given birth to children, be they boys or girls, or when they are just about to give birth, good deeds should be done to increase the benefits of the household, thus causing the local earth spirits to be immeasurably pleased. The spirits will then protect the mother and child so that they experience peace and happiness, and will bring benefit to the entire family. After the birth, all killing and injuring for the purpose of offering fresh meat to the mother should be carefully avoided, as should parties that include drinking alcohol, eating meat, singing, and playing musical instruments. All those things can keep the mother and child from being peaceful and happy. Why is that? At the difficult time of birth, uncountable evil ghosts, including mountain sprites, goblins, and certain spirits, desire to eat the strong-smelling blood. I quickly order the local earth spirits of that household to protect the mother and child, allowing them to be peaceful and happy and to receive other benefits. When people in such households witness those benefits, they should do meritorious deeds to express their gratitude to the earth spirits. If instead they harm and kill and have large gatherings involving feasting and entertainment, then the retributions that result from such offences will be borne by them and will bring harm to the mother and child as well. Moreover, when people of Jambudvipa are on the verge of death, I wish to keep them from falling into the evil path, regardless of whether they have done good or evil. But how much is this power of mine to help them increase when they have personally cultivated good roots? When those who do good in Jambudvipa are about to die, hundreds of thousands of ghosts and spirits from the evil path transform themselves and appear as their parents or other relatives in an attempt to lead such people to fall into the evil path. How much more is that the case for those who have done evil deeds? World Honored One, when men or women in Jambudvipa are on the verge of death, their consciousnesses and spirits become confused and dark. They are unable to discriminate between good and evil, and their eyes and ears are unable to see or hear. That is why relatives of those deceased people should make generous offerings, recite the sacred sutras, and recite the names of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Such good conditions can cause the deceased to leave the evil paths, and all the demons, ghosts, and spirits will withdraw and disperse. World Honored One, if at that time of death beings of any kind have an opportunity to hear the name of one Buddha or Bodhisattva, or to hear a sentence or gatha of a Mahayana Sutra, I observe that such beings can quickly be freed from the pull of their accumulated minor bad deeds that would otherwise send them to the evil paths. The exception to that is crimes involving killing that warrant fivefold relentless retribution. The Buddha told the Ghost King Lord of Life, because of your great compassion, you are able to make such great vows and protect all beings in the midst of life and death. When men or women in the future undergo birth and death, do not retreat from your vow, but liberate them all so that they can experience eternal peace. The Ghost King told the Buddha, Please do not be concerned. Until the end of my life, in every thought I shall protect beings of Jambudvipa at the time both of birth and of death, so that they all find tranquility. I only wish that at the time of birth and death they would believe what I say, so that they could all be liberated and gain many benefits. At that time, the Buddha told Earth-Store Bodhisattva, This great Ghost King Lord of Life has already passed through hundreds of thousands of lives as a great Ghost King. protecting beings during both birth and death. Only because of this great being's compassionate vows does he appear thus in the body of a great ghost king, for in reality he is not a ghost. After 170 eons have passed, he will become a Buddha named No Appearance, thus come one. His eon will be called happiness, and his world will be named pure dwelling. That Buddha's lifespan will continue for incalculable eons. After, the circumstances surrounding this great ghost king are thus. They are inconceivable, and the people and gods whom he rescues are countless. Chapter 9. The Names of Buddhas. At that time, Upstore Bodhisattva Mahasattva said to the Buddha, World Honor One, I want to discuss some practices that will be helpful to beings of the future and will enable them to gain great benefit throughout their lives and deaths. World Honor One, please hear my words. The Buddha told Upstore Bodhisattva, Now with your expansive compassion, you wish to discuss the inconceivable events involved in rescuing all those in the sixth path who are suffering for their offenses. This is the right time. Speak now, since my nirvana is near, so that I may soon help you complete your vows. Then neither of us will need to be concerned about beings of the present or future. Upstore Bodhisattva said to the Buddha, World Honor One, countless asamkhya eons ago, a Buddha named Boundless Body thus come one appear in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name and have a momentary thought of respect, those people will overstep the heavy offenses involved in birth and death for 40 eons. How much more will that be the case for those who sculpt or paint this Buddha's image or praise and make offerings to him? The merit they obtain will be limitless and boundless. Furthermore, in the past, as many eons ago as there are grains of sand in the Ganges River, a Buddha named Jewel Nature thus come one appear in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name and instantly decide to take refuge, those people will never retreat from the unsurpassed path. Furthermore, in the past, a Buddha named Lotus Supreme thus come one appear in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name or if the sound of his name merely passes by their ears, those people will be reborn 1,000 times in the 6 desire heavens. How much more will that be the case if those people sincerely recite the name of that thus come one? Furthermore, in the past, inexpressible, ineffable asamkhya eons ago, a Buddha named Lion's Roar thus come one appear in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name and in a single thought take refuge, those people will encounter numberless Buddhas who will rub the crowns of their heads and bestow predictions of enlightenment upon them. Furthermore, in the past, a Buddha named Krakuchanda appeared in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name and sincerely gaze at, worship, or praise him, those people will become great Brahma heaven kings in the assemblies of the 1,000 Buddhas of the worthy eon and will there receive superior predictions. Furthermore, in the past, a Buddha named Vipashin appeared in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name, those people will eternally avoid falling into the evil paths, will always be born among people or gods, and will abide in supremely wonderful bliss. Furthermore, in the past, as many eons ago as there are grains of sand in limitless and countless Ganges rivers, a Buddha named Jewel Victory thus come one appear in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name, those people will never fall into the evil paths and will always abide in the heavens, experiencing supremely wonderful bliss. Furthermore, in the past, a Buddha named Jewel Appearance has come one appear in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name and give rise to a thought of respect, those people will soon attain the fruitions of arhatship. Furthermore, limitless asamkhya eons ago, a Buddha named Kashaya Bana thus come one appear in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name, those people will overcome the offenses created throughout 100 great eons of birth and death. Furthermore, in the past, a Buddha named Great Penetration Mountain King Taskamon appeared in the world. If men or women hear this Buddha's name, those people will encounter as many Buddhas as there are grains of sand in the Ganges. Those Buddhas will speak Dharma extensively for them, making certain that they realize Bodhi. Furthermore, in the past there were Buddhas named Pure Moon Buddha, Mountain King Buddha, Wise Victory Buddha, Pure Name King Buddha, Accomplished Wisdom Buddha, Unsurpassed Buddha, Wonderful Sound Buddha, Full Moon Buddha, Moon Face Buddha, and indescribably many other Buddhas. For Honor One, beings of the present and future, both gods and humans, both male and female, can amass such limitless merit and virtue by reciting only one Buddha's name. How much more merit will they amass by reciting many names? Those beings will personally obtain benefits in their lives and death significant enough to keep them from ever falling into the evil path. When people are on the brink of death, a group of their relatives, or even just one of them, should recite a Buddha's name aloud for the people who are ailing. If they do, the karmic retributions of those people who are about to die will be dissolved, even offences deserving fivefold relentless retribution. Offences warranting fivefold relentless retribution are so extremely heavy that those who commit them should not escape retribution for millions of eons. If, however, at the time of such offenders' deaths, someone recites the names of Buddhas on their behalf, then their offences can gradually be dissolved. How much more will that be the case for beings who recite those names themselves? The merit they create will be limitless and will eradicate measureless offences. Chapter 10. The Conditions and Comparative Merit and Virtue of Giving. At that time, Earth-Store Bodhisattva Mahasattva, based on the Buddha's awesome spiritual strength, rose from his seat, knelt on one knee, placed his palms together and said to the Buddha, "World Honour One, I have observed beings within the path of karma and compared their acts of giving. Some do a little and some do a lot. Some receive blessings for one life, some for 10 lives, and some receive great blessings and benefits for hundreds or thousands of lives. Why is that? Please, World Honour One, explain that for us." At that time, the Buddha told Earth-Store Bodhisattva, "Here in this assembly in the palace of the Triumvimsa heaven, I will now discuss the comparative merit and virtue derived from acts of giving done by the beings in Jambudvipa. Listen attentively to what I say." Earth-Store said to the Buddha, "I have wondered about this matter and will be pleased to listen." The Buddha told Earth-Store Bodhisattva, "In Jambudvipa, leaders of nations, prime ministers, high officials, great elders, great kshatriyas, great brahmins, and others many encounter those who are poor, hunchbacked, crippled, dumb, mute, deaf, retarded, blind, or handicapped in other ways. Those leaders and good people may wish to give to those unfortunate ones and may be able to do so with great compassion, a humble heart, and a smile. They may arrange to give generously, either personally with their own hands or by arranging for others to do so, using gentle words and sympathetic speech. The blessings and benefits that such leaders and good people will accrue will be comparable to the meritorious virtue derived from giving to as many Buddhas as there are grains of sand in 100 Ganges rivers. Why is that? Those leaders and good people will receive such rewards of blessings and benefits for having shown a greatly compassionate heart toward the most impoverished and handicapped individuals. Throughout hundreds of thousands of lives to come, they will always have an abundance of the 7 gems, not to mention clothing, food, and the necessities of life. Moreover, Earth-Store, in the future, the leaders of nations, Brahmins, and others may encounter Buddhist stupas, monasteries, or images of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, healers, or Pratika Buddhas, and personally make offerings or give gifts to them. If they do that, each of those leaders and good people will serve as Lord Chakra for a duration of 3 eons, enjoying supremely wonderful bliss. If they are able to transform the blessings and benefits of their giving, dedicating it to the Dharma realm, then those leaders of nations and good people will reign as great Brahman heaven kings for 10 eons. Moreover, Earth-Store, in the future, leaders of nations, Brahmins, and others may, upon encountering ancient Buddhist stupas and monasteries or sutras and images that are damaged, decaying, or broken, resolve to restore them. Those leaders and good people may then do so themselves or encourage others, as many as hundreds of thousands of people, to help and thereby establish affinities. Those leaders and good people will become wheel-turning kings for hundreds of thousands of successive lives, and those who made offerings with them will later be leaders of small nations for as many lives. If they resolve to dedicate that merit before the stupas or monasteries, then, based on that limitless and unbounded reward, those leaders, good people, and their helpers will all eventually complete the path to Buddhahood. Moreover, Earth-Store, in the future, leaders of nations, Brahmins, and others may have compassionate thoughts upon seeing the old, the sick, or women in childbirth, and may provide them with medicinal herbs, food, drink, and bedding so as to make them peaceful and comfortable. The blessings and benefits derived from doing that are quite inconceivable. For 1,000 eons, there will always be lords of the pure dwelling heavens. For 200 eons, there will be lords in the 6 desire heavens, and they will ultimately attain Buddhahood. They will never fall into the evil paths, and for hundreds of thousands of lives, they will hear no sounds of suffering. Moreover, Earth Store, if in the future leaders of nations, Brahmins and others can give in that way, they will receive limitless blessings. If, in addition, they are able to dedicate that merit, be it great or small, they will ultimately attain Buddhahood. How much more easily will they be able to attain the rewards of becoming Shakra, Brahman, or a wheel-turning king? Therefore, Earth Store, you should urge beings everywhere to learn to give in those ways. Moreover, Earth Store, in the future, if good men or women manage to plant only a few good roots within the Buddha Dharma, equivalent to no more than a strand of hair, a grain of sand, or a mote of dust, they will receive incomparable blessings and benefits. Moreover, Earth Store, in the future, good men or women, upon encountering images of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Pratika Buddhas, or wheel-turning kings, may give gifts or make offerings to them. Such persons will obtain limitless blessings and will always enjoy supremely wonderful bliss among people and gods. If they can dedicate that merit to the Dharma realm, their blessings and benefits will be beyond compare. Moreover, Earth Store, in the future, good men or women, upon encountering great vehicle sutras or upon hearing but a single gatha or sentence of them, may be inspired to praise, venerate, give gifts, and make offerings to them. Those people will obtain great limitless and abundant rewards. If they can dedicate their merit to the Dharma realm, their blessings will be beyond compare. Moreover, Earth Store, in the future, good men or women, upon encountering new Buddhist stupas, monasteries, or sutras of the great vehicle, may give gifts and make offerings to them, gaze at them in worship, and respectfully make praises with joined palms. Upon encountering old stupas, monasteries, or sutras, or those that have been destroyed or damaged, they may either do the repairing and rebuilding themselves or encourage others to help them. Those who help will become leaders of small nations for 30 successive lives. The donors themselves will always be wheel-turning kings who will use the good Dharma to teach and transform those leaders of small nations. Moreover, Earth Store, in the future, good men or women may plant good roots in the Buddha Dharma by giving, making offerings, repairing stupas or monasteries, rebinding sutras, or doing other good deeds amounting to no more than a strand of hair, a mote of dust, a grain of sand, or a drop of water, merely by transferring the merit from such deeds to the Dharma realm. The merit and virtue that those people will create will cause them to enjoy superior and wonderful bliss for hundreds of thousands of lives. But if they dedicate the merit only to their immediate or extended families or to their own personal benefit, then the rewards received will be only 3 lives of happiness. By giving up one, a 10,000-fold reward is obtained. So it is, Earth Store. The circumstances involved in the causes and conditions of giving are thus. Chapter 11. The Dharma Protection of an Earth Spirit. At that time, the Earth Spirit firm and stable addressed the Buddha thus: World Honor One, since long ago I have personally beheld and bowed to limitless numbers of Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas. All of them have inconceivable great spiritual penetrations and wisdom that they use in taking across vast numbers of beings. Among all the Bodhisattvas, Earth Store Bodhisattva Mahasattva has made the deepest and weightiest vows. World Honor One, Earth Store Bodhisattva has great affinities with beings in Jambudvipa. Manjushri, Universal Worthy, Samantabhadra, Contemplator of the World Sounds, Avalokiteshvara, Guan Yin, and Maitreya also benefits hundreds of thousands of transformation bodies to rescue those in the sixth path, but their vows will ultimately be fulfilled. After Bodhisattva keeps renewing his vows to teach and transform beings in the sixth path throughout eons, as numerous as the numbers of sand grains in thousands of billions of Ganges rivers. World Honor One, as I regard beings of the present and future, I see those who make shrines of clay, stone, bamboo, or wood and set them on pure ground in the southern part of their dwellings. They place within the shrines images of Earth Store Bodhisattva, either sculpted or painted, or made of gold, silver, copper, or iron. Then they burn incense, make offerings, behold, worship, and praise him. By doing those things, such people will receive 10 kinds of benefits. What are those 10? First, their lands will be fertile. Second, their families and homes will always be peaceful. Third, their ancestors will be born in the heavens. Fourth, those of the current generation will enjoy benefits and long lives. Fifth, they will easily obtain what they want. Sixth, they will not encounter disasters of water and fire. 7. They will avoid unforeseen calamities. 8. They will never have nightmares. 9. They will be protected by spirits in their daily comings and goings. 10. They will create many causes that lead to stagehood. World Honor One, Beings of the present and future who make offerings in their homes in the prescribed manner will attain benefits like those. He further said to the Buddha, World Honored One, good men or women in the future may keep this sutra and an image of the Bodhisattva where they live. Furthermore, they may recite the sutra and make offerings to the Bodhisattva. I shall constantly use my own spiritual powers day and night to guide and protect those who do that from disasters, including floods, fire, robbery and thefts, major calamities, and minor accidents. The Buddha told the earth spirit firm and stable, there are few spirits who can match your great spiritual power. Why do I say that? All the lands in Jambudvipa receive your protection. All the grasses, woods, sands, stones, paddy fields, hemp, bamboo, reeds, grains, rice, and germs come forth from the earth because of your power. Moreover, your constant praising of the beneficial deeds of Earth-Store Bodhisattva makes your meritorious virtue and spiritual penetrations hundreds of thousands of times greater than those of ordinary earth spirits. If good men or women in the future make offerings to this Bodhisattva, or recite the sutra of the past vows of Earth-Store Bodhisattva and rely upon even a single aspect of it in their cultivation, you should use your own spiritual powers to protect them. Do not allow any disasters or unwelcome events even to be heard, much less undergone by them. Not only will those people be protected by you, but they will also be protected by the followers of Shakra, Brahma, and other gods. Why will they receive protection from sages and worthies such as those? It will be due to their having beheld and worshipped an image of Earth-Store Bodhisattva and from having recited this sutra of his past vows. Such people will quite naturally be able to leave the sea of suffering and will ultimately be certified to the bliss of Nirvana. For those reasons, they will receive great protection. Chapter 12. Benefits derived from seeing and hearing. At that time, the World Honored One emitted millions of billions of great rays of light from the crown of his head. There were the white ray, the great white ray, the auspicious ray, the great auspicious ray, the jade ray, the great jade ray, the purple ray, the great purple ray, the blue ray, the great blue ray, the azure ray, the great azure ray, the red ray, the great red ray, the green ray, the great green ray, the gold ray, the great gold ray, the celebration cloud ray, the great celebration cloud ray, the thousand wheel ray, the great thousand wheel ray, the jewel wheel ray, the great jewel wheel ray, the solar disk ray, the great solar disk ray, the lunar disk ray, the great lunar disk ray, the palace ray, the great palace ray, the ocean cloud ray, and the great ocean cloud ray. After emitting such rays of light from the crown of his head, he spoke in subtle and wonderful sounds to the great assembly of gods, dragons, and the rest of the Eightfold Division, humans, non-humans, and others. Hear me today in the palace of the triumphant Sun Heaven as I praise Earth-Store Bodhisattva, telling of his beneficial deeds, of inconceivable events, of the matter of his transcendence to sagehood, of the circumstances of his certification to the 10th ground, and of the situation leading to his becoming irreversible from Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. After he said that, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva named contemplator of the world sound rose from his head in the assembly, knelt and with palms together said to the Buddha, World Honored One, Earth-Store Bodhisattva Mahasattva is replete with great compassion and pities beings who are suffering for their offenses. In thousands of billions of worlds, he creates thousands of billions of transformation bodies through the strength of his meritorious virtue and inconceivable awesome spiritual power. I have heard the World Honored One and the numberless Buddhas of the 10 directions praise Earth-Store Bodhisattva in unison, saying that if all the Buddhas of the past, present, and future were to speak of his meritorious qualities, they could never finish describing them. Upon hearing the World Honored One tell the great assembly that he now wants to praise Earth-Store Bodhisattva's beneficial deeds and so forth, I am beseeching the World Honored One to praise the inconceivable events pertaining to Earth-Store Bodhisattva, for the sake of beings of the present and future and to cause the gods, dragons, and the rest of the Eightfold Division to gaze at him in worship and obtain blessings. The Buddha replied to contemplator of the world sounds Bodhisattva, you have deep affinities with the Saha world. If gods, dragons, men, women, spirits, ghosts, or any other beings who are suffering for offenses within the sixth path, hear your name, see your image, behold you, or praise you, they will definitely become irreversible on the unsurpassed way. They will always be born among people and gods and they experience wonderful bliss. When the effects of their causes come to fruition, they will encounter Buddhas who will give them predictions. You are now replete with great compassion and pity for beings, including gods, dragons, and the rest of the Eightfold Division. Listen as I discuss events involving the inconceivable benefits bestowed by Earth-Door Bodhisattva. Listen attentively.
I will discuss it for you.
Contemplator of the world sound said, "So be it, Word Honor One. We will be pleased to listen." The Buddha told the Bodhisattva contemplator of the world sounds, "In worlds of the present and future, gods whose heavenly blessings are ending may be manifesting the 5 signs of decay, indicating that they may be about to fall into the evil paths. When those signs appear, if those gods, whether male or female, see Earth-Door Bodhisattva's image or hear his name and gaze at him or bow once to him, their heavenly blessings will thereby increase. They will experience great happiness and will never have to undergo retributions in the 3 evil paths. How much more will that be the case for those who, upon seeing and hearing the Bodhisattva, use incense, flowers, clothing, food, drink, jewels, and necklaces as gifts and offerings to him? The meritorious virtue, blessings, and benefits they gain will be limitless and unbounded. Moreover, contemplator of the world sounds, in worlds of the present and future, when beings in the 6 paths are on the verge of death, if they can hear the name of Earth-Door Bodhisattva even once, such beings will never have to endure the sufferings of the 3 evil paths again. How much more will that be the case if the parents and other relatives use the houses, wealth, property, jewels, and clothing of such people who are on the verge of death to commission the carving or painting of images of Earth-Door Bodhisattva? If those ailing people have not yet died, their relatives can try to help them see, hear, and understand that their houses, jewels, and so forth has been used to carve or paint images of Earth-Door Bodhisattva. If those people's karmic retributions were such that they were to undergo severe sickness, then with such merit they can quickly be cured and their lifespans prolonged. If those people's retribution send them to the evil destinies at death due to their karma and obstacles, then with such merit they can, when their lives end, be born instead among people or gods and they enjoy extremely wonderful bliss. All their obstacles due to offences will dissolve. Moreover, contemplator of the world sounds Bodhisattva. In the future, men or women may lose their fathers, mothers, brothers, or sisters while still infants or as youngsters. As adults, such people may think about those parents and other relatives, not knowing into what paths or worlds or heavens they have been reborn. Suppose that such people are able to sculpt or paint images of Earth-Door Bodhisattva or to gaze upon and worship him for 1 through 7 days without retreating. Those upon hearing his name and seeing his image, they gaze at him in worship and make offerings. If such people's relatives had fallen into bad paths and were destined to remain there for many eons, those relatives would quickly gain release, be born among people or gods, and experience supremely wonderful bliss. That will happen because of the meritorious virtue generated by their sons, daughters, brothers, or sisters who carve or painted images of Earth-Door Bodhisattva and then gaze upon and worship them. If such people's relatives have already been born among people or gods on the strength of their own blessings and are already experiencing supremely wonderful bliss, then upon receiving the additional merit, their causes pertaining to sagehood will increase, and they will experience limitless bliss. If such people are able to behold and worship images of Earth-Door Bodhisattva single-mindedly for 3 weeks, reciting his name a full 10,000 times, the Bodhisattva may then manifest a boundless body and describe to those people the realms into which their relatives have been born. Or in their dreams, the Bodhisattva may manifest great spiritual powers and personally lead them to those worlds to see their relatives. If they can further recite the Bodhisattva's name 1,000 times a day every day for 1,000 days, the Bodhisattva will order the ghosts and earth spirits in the vicinity of such people to guard and protect them for their entire lives. In this world, their clothing and food will be abundant and they will have no suffering from sickness or other causes. No accidents will occur in their households, much less affect them personally. Finally, the Bodhisattva will rub the crowns of their heads and bestow predictions upon them. Moreover, contemplator of the world sound Bodhisattva, in the future, good men or women may want to practice great compassion in rescuing beings, may want to cultivate unsurpassed body, and may want to live the triple world. Those people may see Earth-Door Bodhisattva's image, hear his name, and in their hearts take refuge with him. They may use incense, flowers, clothing, jewels, food, and drink to make offerings while beholding and worshipping him. Such good people's wishes will quickly be fulfilled and they will never have any further obstructions. Moreover, contemplator of the world sound Bodhisattva, in the future, good men or women may want to fulfill millions of billions of vows and to succeed in As many undertakings both in the present and the future, they need only take refuge with, gaze upon, worship, make offerings to, and praise images of Avesta Bodhisattva. In this way, their vows and goals can all be realized. Moreover, they may hope that Avesta Bodhisattva, being endowed with great compassion, will always protect them. In dreams, the Bodhisattva will rub the crowns of their heads and bestow predictions upon them. Moreover, contemplator of the world sound Bodhisattva, in the future, good men and women may have high regard for the great vehicle sutras and make the inconceivable resolve to read them and to recite them from memory. They may then encounter a bright master who instructs them so that they can become familiar with the text. But as soon as they learn them, they forgot them. They may try for months or years and yet still be unable to read or recite them from memory, because those good men and women have karmic obstructions from past life that have not yet been dissolved. They are unable to read and memorize sutras of the great vehicle. Upon hearing Avesta Bodhisattva's name or seeing his image, such people should, with deep respect and honesty, state their situation to the Bodhisattva. In addition, they should use incense, flowers, clothing, food and drink, and other beloved material objects to make offerings to the Bodhisattva. They should place a bowl of pure water before the Bodhisattva for 1 day and 1 night. Afterwards, joining their palms together, they should state their request and then, while facing south, prepare to drink the water. As the water is about to enter their mouth, they should be particularly sincere and solemn. After drinking the water, they should abstain from the 5 pungent plants, wine, meat, improper sexual activity, false speech, and all killing and harming for 1 to 3 weeks. In dreams, those good men and women may then see Avesta Bodhisattva manifesting a boundless body and anointing the crowns of their heads with water. When they awaken, they may be endowed with keen intelligence. Upon hearing this sutra but 1 time, they will eternally remember it and never forget or lose a single sentence or verse. Moreover, contemplator of the world sound Bodhisattva, in the future there may be people whose food and clothing are insufficient, who find their efforts thwarted, who endure much sickness or misfortune, whose families are not peaceful, whose relatives are scattered, who are accident-prone, or who are often startled in their sleep by dreams. Upon hearing Avesta Bodhisattva's name and seeing his image, such people should recite his name a full 10,000 times with extreme sincerity and respect. Those inauspicious circumstances will gradually disappear and they will find peace and happiness. Their food and clothing will be abundant, and even in their dreams they will be peaceful and happy. Moreover, contemplator of the world sounds Bodhisattva. In the future, good men or women may have to enter mountains, forests, cross rivers, seas or other large bodies of water, or take dangerous roads either for the sake of earning their own livelihood or for public or personal affairs, matters of life and death, or other urgent business. Such people should first recite the name of Avesta Bodhisattva a full 10,000 times. The ghosts and spirits of the lands they pass through will then guard and protect them in their walking, standing, sitting, and lying down. The peace and happiness of those people will constantly be preserved, so that even if they encounter tigers, wolves, lions, or any other harmful or poisonous creatures, they will not be harmed. The Buddha told contemplator of the world sounds Bodhisattva. Avesta Bodhisattva has deep affinities with beings in Jambudvipa. Hundreds of thousands of eons will not be time enough to describe the benefits derived by beings who see this Bodhisattva and hear his name. Therefore, contemplator of the world sound Bodhisattva, you should use your spiritual powers to propagate this sutra, thus enabling beings in the Saha world to enjoy peace and happiness always, throughout hundreds of millions of eons. At that time, the world owner once spoke verses, saying, I observed that Avesta's awesome spiritual strength could not be described in eons numerous as Ganges sands. Seeing, hearing, beholding, and bowing to him even once benefits people and gods in endless numbers of ways. Men and women, gods and dragons, near the end of their rewards and doomed to fall into the evil path, can sincerely take refuge with this great being, thereby lengthening their lives and dispelling offenses. Sometimes, youngsters lose their kind and loving parents and do not know what path they are now on. Quite often lost brothers, sisters, and other kin were never known to their surviving relatives. By sculpting or painting this Bodhisattva's image and then beseeching, gazing at and bowing to him, and holding his name in mind a full 3 weeks, those relatives may see the Bodhisattva's body. The Bodhisattva may show them where those kin were born and even quickly free those in bad destinies. If those praying can sustain their initial resolve, crowns may be rubbed, sagely predictions given. Those determined to cultivate unsurpassed body and escape the suffering here in the triple world should let their greatly compassionate hearts unfold, as they first behold and bow to this great being. Then every vow they make will soon be fulfilled, and no bad karma will ever hinder or stop them. Some people may resolve to read the Sutra text, hoping to help confused beings reach the other shore. Although the vows they make are quite remarkable, try as they may, they cannot remember what they read. Because of their karmic obstacles and delusions, those people cannot memorize the Mahayana Sutras, but they can offer scents and flowers to Earth Store and give him clothes, food, and other special things. They can set pure water on the Bodhisattva's altar, leaving it there a day and night before they drink it. They should rigorously abstain from pungent plants, alcohol, meat, improper sex, and false speech. For 3 weeks they should not kill any creature. While being mindful of the name of that great being, then in a dream their vision may become boundless. Awakening, they may find that they now have keen ears. After that, when they hear the teachings of the sutras, they will never forget them for thousands of lives. How inconceivable is this Bodhisattva in helping people like that gain such wisdom? Beings may be impoverished or plagued with disease, their homes may be troubled, their relatives scattered, they may find no peace even in sleep or dreams, their efforts may be totally thwarted. But beholding and bowing to Earth Store's image can cause all those evils to simply disappear. Dreams will become entirely peaceful, food and clothes ample, spirits and ghosts now guardians. When people need to pass through mountain forests, cross the seas, or go among evil birds and beasts, evil people, evil spirits, evil ghosts, and even evil winds, or to put themselves in other difficult situations, they need only gaze in worship and make offerings to an image of the mighty Earth Store Bodhisattva. In response, all the evils in those mountains, forests, and on those vast seas will simply disappear. Contemplator of sounds, listen well to what I say. Earth Store Bodhisattva is an unending wonder. Hundreds of millions of eons is time too brief to fully describe the powers of this great being. If people can but hear the name Earth Store, bow to his image, revere and worship him, offer incense, flowers, clothes, food and drink, such acts will bring them thousands of joys. If they can dedicate such merit to the Dharma realm, they will become Buddhas, ending birth and death. Contemplator of sounds, know this well and tell everyone everywhere in lands as many as can just sense. Chapter 13. The Entrustments of People and Gods. At that time, the world owner one extended his gold-colored arm and again rubbed the crown of the head of Earth Store Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, Earth Store, your spiritual powers, compassion, wisdom, and eloquence are inconceivable. Even if all the Buddhas of the 10 directions were to proclaim their praises of your inconceivable deeds, they could not finish in thousands of millions of eons. Earth Store, remember this entrustment that I am again making here in the Triumphrimsa heaven in this great assembly of uncountable millions of billions of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, gods, dragons, and the rest of the Eightfold Division. I again entrust to you the gods, people, and others who are still in the burning house and have not yet left the triple world. Do not allow those beings to fall into the evil destinies even for a single day and night, much less fall into the fivefold relentless hell or the Avicii hell, where they would have to pass through thousands of billions of eons with no chance of escape. Earth Store, the beings of Southern Jambudvipa have irresolute wills and natures. They habitually do many evil deeds. Even if they resolve to do good, they soon renounce that resolve. If they encounter evil conditions, they tend to become increasingly involved in them. For those reasons, I reduplicate thousands of billions of bodies to transform beings, take them across, and liberate them, all in accord with their own fundamental natures. Earth Store, I now honestly entrust the multitudes of gods and people to you. If in the future, among gods and people, there are good men or women who plant a few good roots in the Buddha Dharma, be there as little as a strand of hair, a mote of dust, a grain of sand, or a drop of water, then you should use your powers in the way to protect them so that they gradually cultivate the unsurpassed way and do not get lost or retreat from it. Moreover, Earth Store, in the future gods or people, according to the responses of their karmic retributions, may be due to fall into the evil destinies. They may be on the brink of falling or may already be at the very gates to those paths. But if they can recite the name of one Buddha or Bodhisattva or a single sentence or verse of a great vehicle sutra, then you should use your spiritual powers to rescue them with expedient means. Display a boundless body in the places where they are. smash the hells, and lead them to be born in the heavens and to experience supremely wonderful bliss. At that time, the World Honor One spoke in verse, saying, I am entrusting to your care the multitudes of gods and people both now and in the future. Use spiritual powers and expedients to save them. Do not allow them to fall into the evil destinies. At that time, Upstart Bodhisattva Mahasattva knelt on one knee, joined his palms together, and said to the Buddha, I beg the World Honor One not to be concerned. In the future, if good men or women have a single thought of respect for the Buddha Dharma, I shall use hundreds of thousands of expedients to take them across and free them. They will quickly be liberated from birth and death. How much more will that be the case for those who, having heard about all these good matters, are inspired to cultivate? Those people will naturally become irreversible from the unsurpassed way. After he finished speaking, a Bodhisattva named Empty Space Treasury who was in the assembly addressed the Buddha. World Honor One, I personally have come to the Triumphrimsa and have heard the Tascam One praise of Upstart Bodhisattva's awesome spiritual strength, describing it as inconceivable. If in the future good men, good women, gods and dragons hear this sutra and the name of Upstart Bodhisattva, and if they behold and bow to his image, how many kinds of blessings and benefits will they obtain? Please, World Honor One, say a few words about this for the sake of beings of the present and future. The Buddha told Empty Space Treasury Bodhisattva, listen attentively. I shall enumerate them and describe them to you. Good men or women in the future may see images of Upstart Bodhisattva and hear this sutra or read or recite it. They may use incense, flowers, food and drink, clothing, and gems to give gifts and make offerings to him. They may praise, behold, and bow to him. Such beings will benefit in 28 ways. First, they will be protected by gods and dragons. Second, their good roots will increase daily. Third, they will amass supreme causes pertaining to sagehood. Fourth, they will not retreat from body. Fifth, their clothing and food will be abundant. Sixth, they will never succumb to epidemics. 7. They will escape calamities involving fire and water. 8. They will never be threatened by thieves. 9. They will be respected by all who see them. 10. They will be aided by ghosts and spirits. 11. Women who want to can be reborn as men. 12. Women who want to can be reborn as daughters of national leaders and officials. 13. They will have upright appearances. 14. They will often be born in the heavens. 15. They may be empires or national leaders. 16. They will have the wisdom to know past lives. 17. They will obtain whatever they seek. 18. Their families will be happy. 19. They will never undergo any disasters. 20th. They will leave the bad karmic path forever. 21st. They will always reach their destination. 22nd. Their dreams will be peaceful and happy. 23rd. Their deceased relatives will leave suffering behind. 24th, they will enjoy blessings earned in previous lives. 25th, they will be praised by sages. 26th, they will be intelligent and have keen faculties. 27th, they will be magnanimous and empathetic. 28th, they will ultimately realize Buddhahood. Moreover, Empty Space Treasury Bodhisattva, if gods, dragons, or spirits of the present or future hear Upstart's name, bow to Upstart's image, or hear of Upstart's past vows and the events of his practices, and then praise, behold, and bow to him, they will benefit in 7 ways. First, they will quickly ascend to levels of sagehood. Second, their evil karma will dissolve. Third, all Buddhas will protect and be near them. Fourth, they will not retreat from body. Fifth, their inherent powers will increase. Sixth, they will know past lives. 7. They will ultimately realize Buddhahood. At that time, all the indescribably ineffable numbers of Buddhas, Tascam ones who had come from the 10 directions, and great Bodhisattvas, gods, dragons, and the rest of the Eightfold Division, having heard Shakyamuni Buddha's praise of Upstart Bodhisattva's great awesome spiritual powers, lauded this unprecedented event. Following that, incense, flowers, heavenly garments, and pearl necklaces rained down in the Triumphrimsa heaven as offerings to Shakyamuni Buddha and Upstart Bodhisattva, and everyone in the assembly joined together in gazing and making obeisance to the Buddha and Bodhisattva. Then they put their palms together and withdrew. End of Part 3 of Sutra of the Past Vows of Upstart Bodhisattva.